history of Philadelphia, like the history of any great city, is written in stone for anyone to read. Each of its great towers is a monument to the changing city. Tall and flashing walls rise from the center of the town, imagined and built according to a plan 3 centuries old. Erected in 1700, when our ancestors, seeing the country open up before them, dreamed of this city as a refuge, and left to us their forward-looking courage. They laid out plans for a straight, clean city. They built for as long as the walls would last. What has this planned city come to? Has it worked? Or has it lost its plan? The city was built to be whatever it wished to be. The red brick 19th century town changed with the coming of concrete, steel, electricity, a great force in the world. The town growing all the time, people moving in all the time, the big city reaching out. For this city can be what it wishes to be. It can produce whatever it wishes to produce. Riches of any kind, waste of any kind, beauty of any kind.
Oh, some things never change. Philadelphia, a city rich in history and culture. Deafening crime rate. Reports of the city's recent real estate market renaissance have made frequent appearances in Forbes, Money Magazine, and the New York Daily News. This, of course, has incited a lot of contractors to begin construction on loft apartments, condominiums, and office buildings here in the heart of the city of brotherly love. Of course, the story wouldn't be complete without conflict. And the conflict here lies in the fact that despite the recent boom in construction contracts, many parts of the city remain grossly underdeveloped. Namely, the 11-mile stretch of land that sits along the Delaware River.
I wouldn't even call it a waterfront. As far as what you think of waterfront when you think of other cities.
It actually is not very pretty to look at right now.
Yeah, they definitely need to renovate or do something, just clean it up and make it more modern or contemporary.
It needs to be cleaned up.
It's ghetto, to say the least.
And those were just the nice things the people of Philadelphia had to say about it. Which brings me to the question, why? Why further congest the downtown area by continuing to contract every inch of free space that isn't already occupied by some shiny, imposing new skyscraper, when there's miles of vacant lots here on the waterfront just begging to be put out of their blighted misery? I set out to find out just that. A month and a half ago, I contacted the city planner, David Schaff, to set up a meeting with him. And as a testament to his efficiency, he neglected to get the necessary clearance required by City Hall of any official who wishes to make a public media statement. In other words, I couldn't get him to speak on camera. He did, however, give me some useful information to help me answer my burning questions. Interestingly enough, he told me that out of all the parts of the city, the majority of the development offers are for the land alongside the Delaware River. But because the local government is oh so competent, in 1997, when the pressure was at an all-time high from hundreds of contractors and companies seeking to develop places of business and residence overlooking the waterfront, the state stepped in and stopped all development until City Hall came up with a plan. Surprise, surprise, it's been 10 years and they still don't have a plan. Which is pretty ridiculous once you take into consideration that the city actually only owns 3% of the land. The other 97% is privately owned property possessed by greedy, if not investment-savvy individuals who are waiting for the real estate markets to skyrocket and the property demands to increase before they sell. In other words, the difference between multi-millions and billions. I asked the city planner if I could expect to see any change along the waterfront in the next 10 to 15 years. And with a hearty laugh that clearly spelled out the words, "Don't hold your breath," he told me anything's possible, but work like that could take more than a half a century. Well, of course it will with competent men like him on the job. But seriously, what about Soho? More formally known as what used to be the blighted Death Trap Hell's Kitchen, or the Meatpacking District. Neither of those sections of New York City took a half a century to make a turnaround for the better. And even in Philadelphia, just a few years ago, the sections now known as University City and Northern Liberties were derelict and more cracked up than the Liberty Bell itself. Whereas today, they're thriving cultural hubs for people of the city. Now don't get me wrong, I don't expect to change overnight. Urban renewal is something that takes time. But I have faith that someday, both the city and the waterfront will see brighter days.